works hard for the money and you work hard for your money. And if you want to rock retirement, you got to treat it right. Let's go talk about how you can do that. Welcome to Roger That, where we share practical wisdom each week on how you can not just simply survive retirement, but you can rock retirement in whatever unique way you've defined for yourself. So we're going to go through the 5 things you can do with the money that you work so hard for, okay? Now, before I do this, understand 2 things. Number 1 is we all have a bias to which one of these 5 things we default to if we don't make a decision. And we need to recognize that bias. The second thing we need to understand is that there is a tension between all 5 of these things. To do one pulls on the other one, or it's like a 5-way tug of war with the wealth that you've created. And we need to find some balance in that tension and not let one win out all the time. Number 1 is you can spend it. That could be on the new house, that could be on the vacation with the family, that can be on the new drone that is showing up today. It's here! You can live more of your life right now, and however you define that, by consuming and using the money to create whatever it is you want to create in your life. Now, like everything, you can get way too hot with that, right? You can just be YOLO and spend for today and never really save anything for tomorrow. That's not healthy. But you can also be the other direction, where you're so worried about tomorrow that your default is saving that you deny yourself more than maybe you should, or you deny your family more than maybe you should. The key is to find a balance so you're not too far in one direction. So number 1 is you can consume the money, and you can do that in a healthy way so you're not denying yourself, but you're also not just going YOLO and blowing all that cash that you've worked so hard for. Number 2 is you can give it away. What? Yeah, you can tithe it, you can support a charity that you want to support, you can support people. That is a viable thing you can do with money, right? So number 1 is you can spend it. Number 2, you can give the money away. Now, I know some people that don't give it all, and that's their default. I know other people that will sacrifice their life by giving to other people. Usually where that manifests itself is giving to their children, their adult children, by supporting them, paying off their debt, helping with bills, not allowing them to deal with their own problems. I've seen families almost commit financial suicide supporting children that should be supporting themselves. Now, we all want to support our kids. I have a 20 and 22-year-old. I want them to succeed, and it's hard to know where that fine line is in supporting them and enabling them. So that can be a danger in this way that you can spend money. Number 3. The number 3 thing you can do with money is you can pay down debt. This can be a very healthy thing to do, especially if it's consumer debt, the high interest rate debt, credit cards, car payments, whatever it is. And the nice thing about paying down debt, especially if it's high interest rate debt, is it's a guaranteed return on the interest that you're saving. I mean, you got credit card debt where you're paying 18%, and you can pay that off and you get a guaranteed 18% return because you're not paying that interest. That's a really healthy thing to do, assuming you don't run it back up. The 4th thing you can do with money is you can save it as cash. Cash in liquidity is underrated on the balance sheet for a lot of people. A lot of people don't like to keep a lot of cash, especially with the interest rates that we're getting, because they're so low, it feels unproductive. The nice thing about cash is that it's like the financial airbag of your financial life, right? When you have that major medical expense or the car breaks down or whatever, and financially you're about to hit the windshield, having liquidity, that airbag is the buffer that can save you from going into debt or making some bad decisions. You can default too far either direction, not having any and having no airbag and no seatbelt, to having way too much and riding around in like a bubble wrap car. Who wants to do that? You got to be a good steward. Number 5 is you can invest the money. Now we're getting into how do we allocate the rest of this money to work for us for the future. And then that leads to a whole nother decision that goes to a whole nother video of what tax category do you invest it in? What do you invest it in terms of investing in yourself, investing in real estate, investing in traditional mutual funds or stocks or whatever, or your business. Those are all different decisions. Or I can't think of anything else you can actually do with money other than burn it, I guess. If you want to be a good steward, if you want to take an intentional step to actually rock retirement, you gotta do it right? You worked hard for it, you gotta do it right, and you have to be intentional about these 5 things. You gotta know what your default is, what your bias is if you don't take intention with this, and you have to find some balance between the tension of all 5 of these things that are pulling to use the wealth that you've created. If you can do this systematically and be a good steward, you got a good chance of not just surviving retirement, but really rocking it. I know you can do it.